Hey, it's Ben Wise of ZOAR Fitness, and this is the name game. Workout number 41 is U-Haul. 2 rounds for time. 100 calorie row, 50 bar-facing burpees. Let's get into movement standards. The row. You cannot touch the handle of the rower until the clock starts. So at 000, turn it and starts. Now you can touch the handle. You cannot let your butt leave the seat of the rower until the screen shows 100 calories. Once it turns over to the 100 calorie mark, then your butt can leave the seat and you can begin your 50 bar-facing burpees. Bar-facing burpees, just as it sounds, you are facing the bar. You can step up the burpee, but you have to have a 2-foot takeoff in the burpee. I'm not making you put a tape line down in the middle, but be cognizant, actually make sure you're facing the bar, being perpendicular to it. Same thing, you'll go through that for one more round. So the setup, pretty simple. Set up your bar sort of perpendicular with your rower so that you're doing your bar-facing burpees right there. Pretty simple, and the transitions aren't gonna matter a ton because there's so many reps here. It's more about being consistent and getting your pacing right, which is really the big thing I want to talk about here is your pacing. So it's critically important in this workout that you get your pacing right. That's the most important thing that you can do here. And when we're thinking about pacing, the only way that you can know how to pace something is by determining how long something's going to take you, right? So if it's 50 bar muscle up, 50 overhead squats, 50 wall ball, and 50 handstand push-ups, if you haven't done those movements before, you have no idea how long that's gonna take. You're just gonna start moving through that. But if you're like, oh, like wall balls take me 1.8 seconds a rep, handstand push-ups are gonna take me 1.5 seconds a rep, and I'm gonna break this long and this many times, and this is gonna be my strategy. And now you can really formulate, okay, this workout's gonna take me 14 minutes, right? You can start to do that with different workouts, and that's a really important piece of your pacing. And a workout like this, it's really engine based, so the time domain matters a whole lot more than just the muscular fatigue or something like that. Obviously that's gonna have a component, and it always has a component, even if it's just a row, but really time domain plays a really important part of this. So if we start to think about this, 100 calories on the rower, how far is that in terms of like meters? Well, it's gonna vary based on how fast you're actually rowing. So if you're rowing faster, it's obviously gonna take you less time, but actually exponentially less time than it would for meters. So for example, let's say we have somebody and they row that 100 calories at what would be a 2-minute pace per 500 meters. That's gonna be right around 1,000 calories per hour. Again, that's what you're gonna have, the metric you're gonna have in front of you is calories per hour, and most people for longer intervals and things often use meters, so it's important that we can kind of convert this over. So 100 calories, something I always think about is like, typically if you're pulling about 1,000 calories per hour, which again is right around a 2-minute pace, that takes you about 1,000 meters to get 66 calories. It's typically about 33 calories. Again, if you're around that 1,000 calories per hour marker to get 500 meters. So you're looking at probably 1.5K here, give or take a little bit, depending if you row faster, it's gonna be a little bit under 1.5K. And if you row a little bit slower than 1,000 calories per hour, it's going to be a little bit more than 1.5K. Thinking about that, you got 2 rounds of that, that's 3,000 meters right there. Thinking about, okay, at my maybe 5K time trial pace, if you're one of my athletes, you've probably done 5Ks on the rower, then okay, I can really start to determine if it's 3K, yes, I got to do all these other burpees, but I can probably hold a pace somewhere kind of close to my 5K time trial pace. So that being said, if you have no idea and you know your 5K time trial pace and you say, okay, I'm gonna make sure that I hold back a little bit and don't go faster than my 5K on that first 100 meter or first 100 meter, 100 calorie row. I'm not gonna go faster than my 5K pace. And I think that's actually probably a good recommendation across the board. Okay, so my 5K pace is a 151 for me. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I am, maybe a 152, 153, 154 pace on that first 100 calories, making sure that I'm under my capacity a little bit so that I can get straight to the burpees, move methodically through all those burpees. And then when I get back to the rower, hopefully I can hold, again, a similar pace. If I feel good, I can go down to around my 5K, maybe a touch faster. If I feel like garbage, which is probably pretty likely, then maybe a few seconds slower, but really getting that kind of feel down. So if you're someone who doesn't know what your 5K pace is in terms of calories per hour, it's pretty simple. Like, start pulling on the rower, get to your 5K pace, and as soon as you flash whatever you want. So for me, I would be like, okay, I'm rowing. It's a 158 that stroke. It's a 156 this stroke. Okay, now I'm at a 151. As soon as I pull a 151, I'm not gonna touch the rower anymore. I put the handle back and I flip the screen over to show calories per hour. And then you know pretty close what you need to be holding in terms of calories per hour in terms of, your pace, like that conversion. So I think there also might be calculators online. If I find one that's good, I'll link to it below, but that's another way that you can do it. And another way that you could do it just on a day-to-day basis as well to figure out pacing. So that's how I would pace the row. Don't go faster than your 5K on that first one if you know your 5K. Otherwise, just go slow, anticipating that you're gonna be rowing for over 12 minutes in this workout, probably for most people. 50 bar-facing burpees. If you do 2 rounds of that, that's 100. Great math there. So 100 bar-facing burpees, another benchmark that we do a lot. So if you're someone who's done 100 bar-facing burpees, take that and then add some time to it, right? Because this is not just 100 bar-facing burpees, it's also 200 calories of rowing on top of that. So you need to definitely slow that down and think about, okay, if I'm holding, for me, I know I'm like, okay, I'm about 3.2 seconds on my per rep for those 100 reps across my bar-facing burpee test. I'm gonna expand that out to maybe, I know if I hold maybe 3.5 seconds on those burpees, that I can use a pretty sustainable technique for myself and be really methodical, hopefully through all of those burpees, and be able to get back on the row and not feel completely trashed and like I'm winded and trying to catch my breath when I'm rowing. So that being said, I would think about, okay, that's my 100 bar-facing burpees per time. I need to slow that down pretty significantly, make sure that I'm not going faster than that, and trying to overall just think about how can I be sustainable and sort of methodical as I go through this workout. And then combine those two, take as little transition time as you possibly can while kind of holding to those paces, and that's gonna be your time. I think for a lot of people, 18 minutes is gonna be an awesome score, right? I think most people are gonna be north of 20 minutes in this workout. I think that's gonna be the majority of people. There's no time cap, so the clock will not save you in this workout. So if you're someone who's watching here and you're not signed up for the protocol, be sure to do so. You can do that and get a free 7-day trial if you go to zoarfitness.com/pro-trial. And for everybody who's doing it, best of luck on U-Haul.